Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Legacy Voyager class THUNDERTRON. He's a pirate, don't you know? THUNDERTRON came to me from the Hasbro Pulse, and by came to me means I purchased it and it got shipped to me. I gotta admit, robot mode, it looks freaking fantastic. Yes, he does have a peg leg in the box, or on the box. I will show you that in a minute, but I prefer him sans peg leg. The overall aesthetic of the figure is absolutely fantastic, and he feels good in the hand. And, you know, I hate to admit this, I was ready to hate this thing, and I've turned around on it quite a bit because it's really cool. Now here's THUNDERTRON with the only other kitty bot that we've had in the Legacy line, and that is Leo Prime, or Leo Convoy for all you Japanese fans out there. You can see the aesthetic difference between the two figures is quite striking, though, let's face it, I mean, the lower legs are just going to form the back parts of the cat mode. I mean, that's just cats. Transformers in general. I mean, how many Cheetor figures have we had over the years? And yes, there is a turn the legs into cat legs and then futz with the torso to turn it into the front of a cat. Yeah, that's present here, but I don't care. It's still a cool figure. I tried to get him to be able to sit in the nice big purple throne because this would be perfect for him, but he's got too much junk in the trunk and backpack kibble for that to actually work, unfortunately. Head sculpt is fantastic. I mean, look at this thing. This is some real Cybertron Blackbeard the Pirate stuff going on here. He's even got the crest from the top of a pirate hat, and that beard. It's amazing. The only accessory the figure comes with is this really giant-ass sword, which I'm all for. I mean, look at the molding and the detail on this thing. It's real nice. It's big. I just wish it was less than, one color, but that's something I can fix myself. Now, peg leg. He is a pirate. How do you get him into a peg leg? Well, you take his right foot and you rip it off. And there's the peg leg. Nyar. Down to Robo Davy Jones's locker with ya. And, well, where does said foot go? Well, that becomes part of the sword guard. So there is this stub at the front of the sword that pegs into this opening on the bottom of the back of the heel, and that pegs in right there, and then he gets a foot sword. Okay. That's really stupid, but okay. All right, well, maybe we can, maybe we can have some fun with it. Well, can we turn that around? And nope. No, well, is there anything else you could do with it? No, not really. But there is a 5mm port right there. Maybe I can attach a gun to it. Yes, you can attach a gun to it, though it's very loose. Whee! Don't let the peg leg fool you. It can pose just fine with the peg leg. You just have to get a little bit creative. The overall aesthetic of the figure, absolutely fantastic. And I do appreciate the peg leg. It works well for the character. It's very, very cool. And there we have his faction symbol right on his keister. Personally, I am a fan of having both feet being, normal robot feet. I do appreciate the peg leg, but I just like the foot option better. That's just a personal preference. Your mileage may vary. Posability-wise, starting with the head, it is on a ball joint and does have a good range of motion. However, due to the size of the shoulder pads, or I guess you would call these collar pads? I don't know. And the beard, it does limit the head's movement a little bit. That is unfortunate. Shoulder pads are on hinges and move up and down, and then the arms themselves move forward and back, in and out, on hinges and swivels and all that jazz. Unfortunately, there are some very large gaps in the forearms, and I wouldn't have a problem with them if it weren't for the fact that the fists don't actually rotate into them. They're just opened and hold. So, Non-Nef, could you get to making some filler panels for these? I'd really like a set. Fists do articulate, but they are a little bit tough to deal with. These swivels are very tight, and you also have the added plastic of the claw coming off the top of the hand. The fists just hit them. It just hits them. But you can get about 90 degrees worth of movement in the fists before you can't turn them anymore. And unfortunately, well, no, that's not true. I just have to push it, and it will go back. But you see, once you get the fist to be perpendicular to the rest of the forearm, it won't move anymore, but then you can swivel it around. I don't know if you heard that popping. That was just the plastic of the fist moving past the plastic, or the goldish plastic, of the claw on top, which is funny because these are not actually the cat claws that are in beast mode. Is limited torso articulation, just it's limited because of the amount of robot and beast kibble. The actual side skirts are on ball joints. Legs can get forward and back, in and out. They do the 90 degrees. Thigh swivel, knee swivel is, wow, that is pretty posable. And then the feet do articulate forward and back a little bit. And then there is an ankle rocker, but it is very limited. That posability is only for the left foot. The right foot doesn't really have much in terms of posability. It's got forward and back movement, but no ankle rocker. But if you loosen it a little bit, it can spin! Yeah, that's because of the peg leg. The only storage space for the weapon is on its butt flap, or the backpack kibble, and it works okay. I would have loved if there was a way to peg it into the side of the hip, but you can't. It works just sitting back there. It's not bad at all. It does get it out of the way, though it does get in the way of some poses, but it's not that big a deal, really. Now, on this figure, there are a bunch of different ports to peg things into. There's a port on either side of the lower leg. There is a port on either side skirt, on right there on the hips. There is a port on each forearm to peg in a weapon. Obviously, his fists can hold a weapon. And then the top of the shoulder pads, there is a port on one shoulder pad, and then these slots on the other. No idea what the slots are for, though. Thunder Kitty's transformation is pretty darn nifty. I actually like this transformation quite a bit. It starts off by first making sure that the sword isn't pegged anywhere. Just leave it off to the side. Lift the tail up and out of the way, and make sure that the foot has been reattached to the right leg. Come down to the toes and take the outer bits of the foot and flip them around so that they are back on the heels. Then come to the actual hips. Flip up the skirts, and then take the thighs and turn them around 180 degrees so that they're pointing out like that. Then take the legs, or the lower legs, and turn them around so that they're pointing back forward, and then collapse them like you would a cat leg, like so. And do that on both sides. And then that's it for the legs, and we have now ended up with Cheetor legs, Beast Machine's Cheetor legs. That looks ridiculous. Anywho, moving on to the torso. Grab the lion head and this little white bit in his belly and pull the whole thing forward and up over the robot head, like so. Take the arms and give him a T-pose, like that. Turn the arm around so that the armpit is pointing up towards where the head is. Now, grab the upper arm and then turn the forearm so that the inside of the forearm is pointing forward, like that. And then close those up onto each other, and they will peg together, like so. And now we come to the kitty head. Bring it down a little bit just so it's touching the top of the arms, and then grab the head and pull it away from the rest of the body, because there's this double hinge that's very important. And then come to the backpack and pull the backpack up and hinge it up and over and pull it down, or pull it all the way up and over the back like this, so it's pointing kind of up and curved over. And then that little blue piece, there's a peg right there where my finger is. That will peg into that slot behind the head, like that, and then lift the head up, and it will snap into the peg that is shown right there at the tip of that blue piece. Now, take the arms and fold them up and push them up until they rest behind the lion head. And one very cool thing is in these upper arms, there are these little slots that are cut out on the inside of the arms, or the upper arms, right there where my finger is, that will slide into these big white pieces. And they just slot right into place, and then bend the elbows up. And remember that piece that was attached to the figure's belly, or what was the figure's belly? Well, there are two little pegs coming off right there and right there, and those will peg into the underside of the fists. This is the most annoying part of the transformation, because getting all of this lined up and getting these bits pegged into place is just really annoying. You just kind of have to futz with it until you get everything lined up correctly. The one bit of the arm transformation that you have to be aware of is there are these slots that are just behind the wrists. They're right there and right there. Those will slot into these little protrusions coming off the white pieces. And they just kind of rest there, but they do slot into place. And once you get them in and you get all the angles correct, you could simply bring this down and peg them into place. Though doing it causes the fists to move, and you just have to be patient. Just get all the angles right and just futz with it until you could get these little pegs pegged into these holes on the bottom of the fists. And once you do, it looks like this. Then take these side areas that are on the sides of the head and just fold them back as far as they will go. Then come to what were the shoulder pads, flip them up, and fold out the cat claws, bring that hinge down, and then hinge them to the side, and that peg will peg into the hole that was in the forearm. And we do the same thing on the other side. And then slot that into place. And then close up those shoulder pads, and then bring the legs down and get them all positioned correctly into place so it looks like, a kitty. And then take the hip skirts and point them straight back, and then peg the sword into the holder above, stand it up, and we're done. The kitty mode we end up with looks great. Like, legitimately, it looks fantastic. And it looks like a Zoid. And that is intentional, because according to the designer of the toy, THUNDERTRON landed on the Zoid's planet and scanned a Liger. And that's how we ended up with this alt mode. So we literally have Thunder Liger. I am okay with that. I am definitely okay with that headcanon. I like that a lot. Oops, as you can see, I've got the hips a little bit wonky, but that's okay. We'll just fix it. Yeah, it's a really good lion mode. Not the most posable thing in the world, but overall pretty darn good. And a hell of a lot better than what we ended up with Lio Convoy. I'm not transforming Lio Convoy. I don't want to. I love this thing. And that blows my mind. I know that sounds really weird, but it does. Because this figure, I was ready to hate. I was all ready to dismiss it. Because let's face it, THUNDERTRON, who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? This is a nobody character. He's not that interesting. He's just kind of there. But this toy's fantastic. And honestly, I could easily see this thing being heavily remolded into Beast Machine's Cheetor, or repainted as Alpha Trion. Like, seriously, I mean, it's that good. I would buy multiple retools and repaints of this thing. It's really cool. And Cam, aka Grimlockamus, if you're watching, I could see you making a repaint of this somehow. Please do, because I think it would be really cool. Yeah, overall, as a toy, as a figure, it's freaking awesome. I mean, look at that head. It's so well detailed. It's so well painted. The mouth opens and closes. Hell, they even bothered to paint the teeth, which I appreciate. It's really cool. And it works. It works incredibly well. And I don't hate it, which is the thing I'm surprised at more than anything. And if you're really feeling your inner Voltron, you can actually stick the sword in his mouth, and it works. I mean, look at this! And the cat mode is posable. I mean, it's actually posable. In the legs, that is. The rest of the body doesn't really move all that much. You have to get a little bit creative, but it does work. And it's fun. And you all who have been watching me for years know that I'm kind of picky when it comes to figures sometimes. I'm as surprised as anyone that I like this thing so much. It's legitimately a good figure, and it came out of left field. The other thing I'm really impressed with this figure is just how good it feels in the hand. It feels solid. Nothing's loose. Everything feels well put together. It just is a quality figure, and it's one that honestly wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. I just blindly pre-ordered it on Hasbro Pulse because that's the kind of person I am. Or I could say kind of sicko I am. But I'm real glad I got a hold of it. I really am worried that this guy is going to be a shelf warmer. And that would be a shame if it ends up being a shelf warmer, because it deserves to be in your collection. It really, really does. It's that good. It's that much fun. It's just a pleasant surprise and definitely worth your hard-earned cash. And boy, in this day and age where everything is so much more expensive, just being able to get a figure and just be super happy with it, have no problems whatsoever, and being able to wholeheartedly recommend a figure like THUNDERTRON gives me double thumbs up. So folks, pick this one up if you can find it. I think it's still available over at the Hasbro Pulse. It's probably available at your favorite online e-retailer as well. Folks, it's really a ton of fun and totally worth having in your collection. So everyone, that's been my video review of THUNDERTRON. Let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I have been Baltmatrix, asking you to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I got a couple of figures I need to review and work through. So let's get on that gravy train. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.